And we are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Ryan Stick Show. Welcome to the When Good Ghouls Go Bad watch along. This is something I've always wanted to do. I always wanted to watch a movie with some friends. Patrick Reed Johnson, you are currently explained to the situation right now. You were going to broadcast at home, but something happened. I mean, a hurricane of some sort whipped through here.
Some hurricane produced by Russian weather control forces, I'm sure. You leveled areas in the south, but reached out here and blew the living daylights out of our power lines. So my jeditorial editing room, where I usually broadcast from, is devastated right now. So I'm in a restaurant in downtown Winston-Salem, 6th and Vine. Come on down. My girlfriend's place, and I'm in the back booth. So if you hear people shutting down the restaurant, that's what's going on.
They got work to do. Hey, Carlos says, "Hey, buddy." I believe that's to you, Patrick.
Hey, Carlos.
All right. So, what's going on, everybody? We are just getting ready to watch along. For those of you just joining us, never been here before, or those of you who are unfamiliar with Patrick Reed Johnson's work, I'm a huge fan. Patrick is the director of one of my favorite movies in the world, Angus, and you and star Charlie Talbot came on the show and we dissected Angus. You know, we got to the heart and soul, the blood and guts, if you will. And today we're going to do the same thing with Good Ghouls Go Bad, because I'm sure there's a story behind this movie. Before we start the movie, let's actually go into that. How did this movie come into your life? A movie starring Christopher Lloyd, starring Christopher Lloyd, story by RL Stine. This is quite a thing to take upon. How did When Good Ghouls Go Bad go good in your life?
Well, there's a lot of misconceptions about how this movie came to be. What happened was, I got a call one day from my very dear friend David Madden, who at the time was the head of Fox Entertainment, all of Fox television, TV movies, TV series, Fox Studios. I mean, they were the Fox Entertainment Studios that produced these things for various networks. And there was a show. He had just become president of the studio. And by the way, he's the guy who gave me my very first job in 1982 when I was 19 or 20, my very first screenwriting job. And he called me up and he said, "Patrick, I've inherited a film that was here before I got here. Here's the setup. RL Stine had an idea. He pitched it. We commissioned a script. The script didn't work out. They don't like it. And we'd like you to take a look and see if you could come in and, fix it up." And he said, "I know you've never done TV before. You're a feature guy and all this and everything. But if you will help me, I will give you the following things. I will give you a financial box out of which I will never let you escape. But within that box, I will let you do anything you want because I trust you."
Anything, huh? Anything, eh? All right.
And he meant it. And he said, "Here's the catch. Whatever you come up with, we're going to take that idea, that story, we're going to give it to RL Stine. He's going to write a book, and he will release that book, and it will be When Good Ghouls Go Bad by R.L. Stine, from which we will then adapt the movie."
Okay.
So in other words, the ruse was we would come up with a new idea based on his very sketchy, like one-sentence concept, write an amazing screenplay, hopefully, and it would be sent to R.L. Stine, who would then adapt it as a book and then release it to the public as a book by R.L. Stine, soon to be adapted by me and John Lau as a movie.
Okay.
The beauty of this facade was that while we accepted it and we understood why it was being done and we were fine with it, we got the marketing angle. When the time came for everything to come out, R.L. Stine, to his amazing credit as a human being and as an artist, liked what we did so much and was so cool that when the book did come out alongside the movie, It said, "When Good Ghouls Go Bad" by R.L. Stein, based on the screenplay by Patrick Reed Johnson and John Lau.
Oh, buddy.
And he had not only
RL,
did
you nice guy.
he had no contractual obligation to do that. There was nothing in it for him other than that he liked what we did and he wanted it credited. And it was one of the most generous things that anybody has ever done for me ever in Hollywood.
I guess so. It sounds like it. I mean, Hollywood's such a cutthroat business, like me, myself, and I. But R.L. Stein seems to be like, hey, I made my fortune. I got my goosebumps. I can. This will help you more than it'll help me. And good on him for that. You know, R.L. Stein, you're not watching this, but if you were, I've always enjoyed your work, and that's amazing. Alex says that's cool, and it's true. R.L. Stein, fellow Ohio boy, we're stand-up folks.
We love Ohio. Vote.
Yannick and his son Saber are watching as well. And Saber had some questions that we will ask a little later on because we got to watch it when it's relevant. But if you could answer, actually, just for the kids' sake, right up in the corner there, you could see some green glowing eyes. His son, who has to go to bed tonight, he just wanted to know, how did you get those eyes to glow?
Well, it's really interesting. When we designed, I did the original sketch. Well, actually, I should say Keiko Johnson, my ex-wife, based on my ideas, did the original sketch for Curtis Danko. And we kept thinking, after I said, this is what I see, we're like, where do the green eyes come from? What is it? What is propelling this? And it suddenly hit me because it was, I mean, in the Midwest, fireflies and lightning bugs, as we call them, lightning bugs, are a thing every summer. And I said, they're lightning bugs. They're fireflies. And that's what led to this whole deeper dive into the fireflies have the energy that propels the zombies. There's a whole, we just
loved it.
Yeah.
Amazing. I can't believe everybody, this isn't on your watch list every year. Sorry. The more you're talking about, the more I'm remembering. I'm like, I held off so we could watch this together tonight. But I'm like, yeah, the fireflies. Awesome. Please continue.
Okay. So, I mean, and the amazing makeup effects people that work for us in Australia and who dove in and listened and heard what we were trying to do, plus the visual effects folks that the Dale Do-Good's company kind of oversaw. They understood what I was trying to do, and I said, look, the whole idea is all of the zombies are essentially animated by the energy of fireflies, which felt like such a Ray Bradbury type, and he was an old friend of mine, so it's kind of an homage because I knew he would have appreciated that.
Yeah, I just heard about his movie The Halloween Tree today, and it looks badass, and I'm actually surprised I never saw it, and apparently it was praised. It just didn't get to viewers for some reason, but critically it was a darling. Patrick, do you want to start? Is there anything else you want to talk about before starting this movie? I mean, you filmed it in Australia, like of all places. Like, what brought you down under?
So when David asked me to do this, and when we finally got a script that he said, yeah, we can do this, let's go. I said, so I think we should set it in Minnesota or Iowa or Illinois. And he said, yep, nope. He said, you're going to Australia. You're going to Sydney. You're going to make this in Sydney. And I was like, bah. I was like, what? Why? And he goes, because the U.S. dollar is worth $2 down there, and we're gonna, duh. So, and I said, okay, I get that. So suddenly I'm charged with figuring out how to shoot a movie set in, the outskirts of Minneapolis, Minnesota in October, in autumn, in Sydney, Australia in the summer, right? Where everything's green. Everything's green. And we'll talk more about that when you see the film.
Yeah.
Because everything was just jungle green the whole time we shot this thing.
I got to tell you, Patrick. I pieced together only in IMDb when I was trying to look up the actors and stuff who were in it. I'm like, coincidentally, an Australian. Oh, another Australian. But really, like, you could tell that you A, love Halloween, and B, you are the man when it comes to set deco, because it is one of the most beautifully crafted Halloween-looking films I have ever seen. Hands
I
down.
gotta give a lot of credit to the Australian crew. I mean, Les Binns, who's a legend down there, and his entire art direction team, and I mean everybody from costume design and props and makeup effects. I mean, we were lucky that, for better or for worse, when we went in there were a lot of people that weren't working very much in Australia who were incredibly talented. They were much better than we deserved for our goofy little 13 Days of Halloween movie.
Yeah.
I won't name them now, but the people that interviewed with us for this film, certain editors and cinematographers and other people that were like Oscar winners, because there was no work at the time. It was just not a good time for Australia. And so we had our pick of a lot of really talented people who just showed up and did the work, and they didn't say, "Oh, this is beneath me." They did it. They showed up and they put it all. They showed what they could do, and it was really kind of remarkable. I mean, I wish. I'll tell you this. It might have been the most enjoyable and rewarding filmmaking experience I've ever had.
Amazing. Hey, Yannick's, by the way, first of all, TWO Writes says, "Hi, Pat."
Hey!
So Yannick says, "Thank you, Patrick. Ryan suggested this movie to me and my son, and we loved it so much we have watched it 3 times now, and that's a lot because I suggested to him 2 weeks ago. So that's a lot."
It's a lot in 2 weeks. Thank you, Yannick.
Yeah. Saber, coolest kid ever. Saber has a YouTube review show out there called The Evils Present Saber's Cinema Reviews with an S, like sin. And he's going to be reviewing this movie, actually. He's going to be reviewing this movie soon. So isn't that awesome? You're going to be reviewed by an 8-year-old.
You know what? I've been reviewed by lesser beings, for sure. I like 8-year-olds.
Awesome. Okay, so I think it's a good time to start the flick. What do you think, Patrick? Do you think?
I think it's a good idea, and we can just, we'll start and stop, and if people have like, wait, I need to know something, they can talk to you. We can't stop too much because we only have, so many hours in our lifetime.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm going to talk over some of it, and some of it I'm going to just say, wait, listen, watch this, or listen to this, and we'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
Right?
This is the director's commentary that every fan of this movie has always wanted to see. So you're in for a treat, folks. This is awesome. All right, so here's the screen, and Patrick's going to push play.
There you go.
Awesome. The score is great.
One of the first things you learn in life is that things aren't always the way they appear to be. Domestic bliss, for example.
Christopher Lloyd.
He believed that his parents' love was forever, that their home was the center of the universe, that the only way the Walker family would ever leave Chicago was if they were moving to Disneyland. One of the next things you learn in life is that everything you believed as a little kid is subject to revision.
Joe Picture.
Which is how Danny ended up in the tiny hamlet of Walker Falls, Minnesota, which, from what you'd seen of the place, other than its potential to bore you to death, seemed like a perfectly normal place to live.
So, Patrick, with this scene, how did the concept of this town being terrified of Halloween come to you exactly?
No.
It was a larger process of moving backward from what we wanted ultimately to see happen in the story. But we said, what would get everybody in the whole town against an entire family regarding Halloween? And one of the funny things in that scene where you see Sheriff Frady coming up to take over everything is that everything we did with cars and vehicles had to be reversed. We had, because we were in Australia.
Yeah.
Everything they drive on the wrong side of the road, or the other side of the road, and so the police car, we basically had to reverse everything. So the signage, everything on the car, everything had to be reversed.
All right. So
Right?
it wasn't so long.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And that shot of him driving away, pulling out, is the
Yeah.
same shot of him pulling in from another take, just reversed, because we never got a shot of him doing a stuntman maneuver out of the driveway.
Like any other
Tell me about this young gentleman who is the star of the movie. This young town.
Joe Pickler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, is not with us anymore. But tell me, let's not talk about the way he passed. Let's talk about the way he lived. How did he come into your life?
He was one of many students. I'm a college teacher now. Hi. One of many who auditioned in Los Angeles, and the only one who captured our hearts. The only one who we said, "Oh my God, this is him." And he was not just right for the part. He was right to work with. He was the right guy to hang out with for a couple of months and make a movie with. And he was dedicated, and he gave everything to it. And everybody who worked with him, everybody, cast, crew, producers, studio, just fell in love with him.
Yeah.
And he was fearless and would try anything, you know?
And clearly he comes from a legacy. Like, this is Christopher Lloyd's grandson.
The character,
here we
sure.
go. Alex is asking, were those trees color corrected to the brown color because it was shot in Australia?
Funny he should ask. Hi, Alex. It was absolutely. What happened was, we shot Minnesota in the fall, in Sydney in the summer, which is insane. So we had this sort of jungle green environment, and every single shot that's an exterior in this film was put through the Da Vinci at a time when the Da Vinci was barely a couple of years old. It was like a toddler Da Vinci. But we pushed and pushed, and the amazing operators at the post house in Australia were like, "Let's do it, mate. Let's try it." And they would select certain frequencies of green and make them brown, and certain frequencies yellow, and certain frequencies red.
Amazing.
And we were able to create. And I said, push it. This can be artificial because we're in an artificial world. This can be fantastical, but I want it to be autumn. It cannot be green. So you're seeing it right now in the background of all of these shots. Anything that was a certain color of green that we windowed out was turned brown, yellow, orange, red. And people, and I said, make it Wizard of Oz, make it big, make it Technicolor. I don't care. It doesn't have to be real. It has to say to the audience, oh, it's fall, it's autumn. It's primordial technology back in 2001.
You got to tell me about some of these adults. Okay, the coach over here.
Yeah.
I am sure he's a nice person, but
he's
he
a wonderful
is
person.
able to. I have wanted never to punch another human being in the face so hard than watching this movie particular, but it takes a great actor to convey that kind of antagonistic behavior. Tell me about him.
Well, I mean, first of all, I mean, to make this work, you need to understand that 90% of the cast of this movie were Australian.
I know.
Right?
I'm so amazed.
Everybody in this film, except for Joe Pickler and Tom Amandus and Christopher Lloyd, were Australians.
Amazing.
All of them. It's ridiculous. So we had, Joe Clement plays Mike Cankel, and he's just, first of all, he's a great actor no matter what. But he went full tilt. He didn't just phone it in as a job. He dove into this and made it a character and really made it work. And Imelda Cochrane, who plays Taylor, the love interest, also Australian. She just dove into it, and she really gave it her all.
I'm amazed that they pulled off the accent so well.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. Okay.
Please do.
So
Oh yeah, Ryan.
Ryan Cankle, Ryan over here to the right, Ryan came into the audition, in Sydney, and said, "Yeah, I've been living down here for a few years. My parents moved from LA, and we're living in Australia." And he auditioned. He did the whole thing, and I said, "Man, you're awesome. You've got this." And he goes, "Well, thanks, mate." He was not from America. He had totally punked me. He was Aussie.
That's awesome, dude.
Right? And
I love that. That's
Oh,
the
no,
best
it was-
story ever.
I mean, it was just staggeringly awesome. And that happened quite a bit. I mean, people, I don't know. There were so many moments where people came in. Oh, I like this. Hold on.
Wrong. A crit? Bury somebody. Or should I say, what's left of some body?
I mean, does that sound like an Australian to you?
No. He is amazing. I also want to punch him in the face. It's like there's a whole family. I won't hit a kid, of course, but this whole family pisses me off. It's amazing.
Oh, no, it's amazing.
And here we have Davey Havoc from AFI. I really like it. Not actually, but
The thing is, what we tried to do with this, I mean, a lot of people who've reviewed this movie and looked at it have said
Danko would paint pictures of monsters.
they didn't understand that our tongue was planted very firmly in our cheek. There's the Planet of the Apes thing.
Yeah.
We were trying very hard to be ridiculous but emotional, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. It's the type of films I'm drawn to because there's a surrealism to everything. Like the actor playing the coach, he's being very big. I'm sure that guy could Shakespeare it out if he wanted to.
And has done it. Yeah. I mean, all of the actors who graced us with their presence in this from Australia are accomplished movie, television, and theater actors from Sydney who are names. I mean, big names.
Yeah.
And here comes Curtis. Curtis Danko.
Yeah. And you need to make sure.
Played by Brendan Mc.
Everybody out there, I hope you're hearing this. Hello? Checking 1, 2. Hello? Oh, shit. Okay. Well, I guess everybody, I guess we lost them for a moment there. But hey, everybody. So it froze, but we are back. And hey, Pat. Hey, you know what?
Is the movie still showing or not?
No, the movie's not showing. We'll have to relink that. But this is a great time. This is a great time to pause anyway because we actually were talking about how sometimes we would pause it anyway. So let's just recap a little bit.
Yeah,
So the kid moves to a strange town, and they're all Halloweened out. They're like, no Halloween. And they're like, the hell? And the dad has come to take over his father's former business. His father was like very famously known as a candy maker, and they're trying to reopen the factories, hence give the town a purpose because economically it used to be what drove the town. You know how some towns have a mill. Everybody, well, this town had a candy factory that has been defunct for many years because of a fear of Halloween, and then it froze. And here we are, but we're still here, and we're still here, a-hole, as a great line written by a great man would say. And yeah, so let's
thank you for that.
Let's continue to rock this movie.
Okay, I'm going to pull up the video again. Sorry for the technical snafu.
Hey, it is what it is, everybody. It's a global pandemic. The fact that we're even doing this right now is completely amazing.
It's nuts.
Yeah. You and I, the first time we met, probably talked about 2 hours at the Irish Embassy at Fantasia Film Festival.
That was
And
amazing. That was
Yeah,
that was one of the best interviews I've ever had, and I needed it at that moment.
there you go. So here we are, all these
Here's
years
the
later.
introduction. This is the introduction of Curtis Danko, who, and by the way, you have to understand the RL Stine story that was turned into a screenplay that was rejected by Fox, which I was then told to fix. We threw everything out. Everything.
Okay.
The only thing that remains from the R.L. Stine idea was a guy named Uncle Fred dies and comes back as a zombie. That's it.
All right.
Everything else, all of the other inventions of history and there was no Curtis Danko. There was no, there was none of that.
There's no Monster Blood or Night of Living Dummies. It was just
none of that. Nothing. So
okay.
So here comes Curtis Danko.
Nice. I don't believe the sound is there, Patrick.
Oh, stand by.
Yeah, there you go.
Is it there? Stand by. I'll fix it.
All right, no problem.
Give me 1 second.
All right, cool. Anyway,
sorry, guys.
It's all good. It's all good. So in the meantime, Yannick was asking, what movie did you have at Fantasia? Well, that's a good question, and it's a longer conversation, but let's just say 5/25/77 is a true life story about Patrick Reed Johnson as a teenager going to Hollywood and being the first person ever that didn't work on Star Wars who saw Star Wars. That is an abridged version of a longer, amazing tale. But that is what the movie's about. We're crossing our fingers about some good luck with that movie in the future. But that will be another time. Today is Good Ghouls Go Bad. And, yeah, it's going to be great.
Sorry, I'm going to fix this here.
Survive.
Well, the sound's back.
Sound's back, so this should give us some Curtis Danko action here. Hang on.
Yeah. Ignore the screen, ladies and gentlemen. That is a spoiler.
Yeah, we do.
There we go.
You want to know why?
Him being a jerk. It's great.
Because my father was blind for 3 days after he looked at Curtis Danko's creation. He said that sculpture he covered up in the kiln room was so horrible that only someone who'd actually met the devil face to face could have sculpted it. When he told people what it looked like under that shroud, nobody dared even look themselves when they took it away. They just carted it off and buried it in there with him.
This kid's amazing.
And now,
the other kid had never acted in his life, and he came in, and he too adopted an American accent and pulled it off. And when it was over, and I said, "You've got the part," and he goes, "Thanks, mate. Nice to meet you." You know, it was amazing.
Head explode.
That's so funny.
I want someone to try it out ahead of me. What about him?
He's such a good
what kind
jerk.
Of description could I get from him?
It's hard. I always wanted to play a jerk like this.
With you, I'll get the masterpiece theater version. If you survive. Oh.
Yeah, for such a small movie, the art department, the cinematographers, the entire crew was like A+ for a little tiny Fox Family TV movie.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
I mean, there's some slapstick here that keep it really light and stuff, but there's also a lot of dark, serious things in this movie, including the fate of the artist. I mean, that's some dark,
Curtis Danko's story. To me, the best Halloween films or the best fantasy films for kids are those that contain something real and something that can hurt them and something that can scare them on an emotional level. Here comes Chris.
Okay, how does one get Doc Brown in your movie? I mean, he just slays in this movie. It's Chris Lloyd at his best. He was born for roles like this. How do you get Christopher Lloyd in your movie? Because that brings it to here in a level of. Sorry, I'm distracted by the greatness of Christopher Lloyd.
Now, who I was then are two very different things indeed.
You know, Chris responds to script. And to me, even if you're doing a Fox Family Kids film, you can phone it in if you want and just get it in and get paid and walk away. But I can't do that. And I wrote with John Lau, my partner, 30 years. We said, let's make this as good as we can. It's not that we were told by the studio, make this into a piece of art. And I'm not saying it's a piece of art, but it's better than a lot of little Disney TV garbage films. We tried to make a story that had some resonance, and Chris responded to that. He didn't respond to the slapstick. He didn't respond to being wacky Uncle Fred. He responded to the deeper underlying connections of father and son and grandson. And, you know, he said it was the words that got me aboard.
Well, I'm sure Curtis's fate. He's just like, wow, you go there in this movie. Wow.
Well, I mean, if you don't go there, what's the point?
Well,
in other words, all the movies I grew up with as a kid that scared the hell out of me, but also moved me, are why I wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, did you pound him?
No, this is good.
Don't lie to me, you cowardly weasel. The Vikings are in Dallas this week. No, I mean, never mind. Look what I got. What are you gonna do with that? We're gonna get rich with it. How? How much would you pay to see what's under the shroud? Nothing. And how much would you pay to not see what's under it?
The kid had never acted in his life,
Dude.
and he totally got it.
Check out Pinky and the Brain over here. Jesus.
And I got to put Hot Wheels in a movie. I mean, how many times do you get that?
Yeah. And Christopher Lloyd, he's been in some horror films. A great horror film out there, by the way, is called everybody's called I Am Not a Serial Killer.
Yeah.
Christopher Lloyd's amazing in that. But besides Uncle Fester, I mean, he really wasn't in that much horror movies.
And here he's, look, you know, the thing about Chris is everybody thinks he's Doc Brown, and he's not at all. And Tom Amandis, let's just talk about him for a second.
Absolutely, let's do it.
Because the only reason this all holds together is the conflict.
I worked hard to make this happen, Dad. Real hard.
Don't we know it?
Just trying to follow your example. Gotta make your mark in this world, remember? Uncle Fred.
Oh, there's more than one way to make a mark, Jamie.
Here's this kid caught between the grandfather he loves because he's playful and goofy and silly, and his father who doesn't have any time to be playful, goofy, and silly, who's just trying to save the family business.
You've got to hear what he said about Halloween.
Yeah.
No one's bothering at school, Danny.
Great performance too by the dad.
Oh, Tom Amandis is just an amazing actor. I mean, you know, he was Elliot Ness in the Untouchables TV series. He's and just a great guy who, again, dove into it. He didn't say, I'm down in Australia making a paycheck and I'm just going to get in and out. He dove into this. He dug into the character. He asked me questions. He worked. Oh, I like this. Hang on.
Is that a
Proud
set
of this.
painting? Is that a matte painting?
Yeah.
Cool. I love that.
Mrs. Tankle. Mrs. Tyranny.
Just two great Australian actresses doing exactly what was needed.
That's amazing. I gotta ask you, the look of the kids' clothes in this, like, it seems to be a very like vintage, almost like old school Archie comics way of dressing the kids, between the sweater vests and the Letterman's jackets. Was that a conscious decision to make it kind of timeless, as opposed to screaming, "Look, it's the '90s"?
No, we were going for kind of a somewhere between the 70s and the 2000s, which, by the way, in a lot of parts of America, that's how it was. I mean, you gotta understand that one of the reasons things like Stranger Things work is that the art director, the production designer, the costume designer all realized that most people in the middle of the country in the 80s were really living, driving, and wearing archival material from the 70s.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry
they
that I'm in.
nobody's up to speed in the rest of the country.
Mhm.
You know, so we were just looking for something that would really just appeal to an audience in many ways. Oh, this is Tom's great, you know. I mean, but there's a lot of subplots going on here. As you know, there's the mayoral election. There's
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
the stickers on the back. There's a lot of things to follow in this.
Hello again, Walker Falls. Yeah.
Crickets.
I say hello again because although most of you probably don't recognize me now, believe it or not, I actually grew up in this town.
Yeah, you're the most famous person in the town's son. I'm
some
pretty
of you
sure they know and fear you.
Little Jamie
You know, to
Walker.
me, Tom was,
We used to
well,
DP some of your houses.
He's
it
great.
was Jimmy
He seems like
Jimmy Stewart.
he seems like also like a solid guy that could be on like Law and Order or something, like a real true American actor, even though he's not.
And some of you may also remember.
No, Tom's American.
Oh, he is. Okay, my bad.
Oh
My
yeah,
bad.
Tom's American.
Okay.
In fact, we grew up a couple of towns away from each other in Illinois, and
That's because Curtis Danko said that if we ever had another house,
the whole
Greedy old man.
can't say the word Halloween was fun.
This Curtis Danko thing wouldn't have happened in the
There's a funny thing that the composer did, Christopher Gordon,
The legend of
where every time someone starts to say Halloween, there's this little organ thing like, like don't do it.
Yeah, this is pre Harry Potter. This is pre Thou Who Shall Not Be Named.
Running night and day, and folks that head down to Jonathan's pumpkin patch, carve jack-o'-lanterns. Us kids that start to get our costumes together, our entire lives devoted to one night of fog and pranks and first kisses, and of course the biggest prize of all.
Patrick, I hear your voice. I hear your words through his voice right here.
Have all of that back.
This is me.
All
I
we
mean,
need
I'm
is to start
this
up the
character
factory again.
was
It's
was
all still up there,
meant
folks.
to
The
be
machinery
my
is oiled and ready. The
wishful
ingredients are in the
thinking of
house.
a
Miss Van
person
Der
that
Kolk and I
might
ran a test batch, the old
care
recipe.
that much about Halloween.
As we remembered,
You're really good at writing bullies.
all I need now
have you had a large...
I've suffered my share.
Okay, I was gonna ask.
So,
Chris was so
the catch is that
game.
I've spent everything I've got just to get to this point.
Was Chris ever not game for anything? Because he does a lot of wacky
Never.
stuff.
Some investors
Ever.
who can see what
What
I see when I
and
look
what
up
was
them
great
stacked
was
up.
that again he could have taken the paycheck, shut up, run his lines, and gotten the hell out. But he dove into this and he wanted to know why would he do this. And
Was there any particular reason?
okay,
So Alex is asking, why does the town hate Halloween? Well, it's a
Well.
long, complicated answer that will be unraveled as the movie goes.
yeah, I don't want to give it away, Alex. You need to see it because it's a really good story.
Yeah. But his enthusiasm for Halloween is amazing.
And he's not lived in town since he was like a college graduate.
Yeah.
So-
right here to Walker Falls for the very first Halloween night spooktacular.
I mean,
Can you believe all this?
I mean, the whole. And once and Alex asks a good question. What's the issue here? And when you find out, you go, "Oh, okay."
Well, not to give anything away, the issue is nope. Never mind. I'll make the joke later.
scary, huh?
Chris.
Oh, goodness.
He took time to prepare that presentation too, which when you think about the real life,
a lot of people in that crowd.
aw,
And excitement in the eyes of their kids. I believe that if this town woke up, found all of our Halloween spooktacular stuff put up, despite their fears, they would get caught up in it.
You're a dreamer, Jamie.
Well, so were you once upon a time. I understand what happened to you. Uncle Fred I knew was ready to take on the world. He was a civic leader. Built this house with his bare hands. Built that factory on the hill. Built this town and a fortune.
He also built the kiln room that Curtis Danko died in.
Oops.
Ooh.
It was an accident. You gotta stop beating yourself up. For 20 years, you've turned your back on everything you ever loved. You walked away from the town, from the business. You weren't even there for Mom. She needed you most.
So Alex is asking, is that model Hill Valley, was it built to scale, or did you have to think up a town?
I'm going to beat Alex up later. I know Alex.
Okay.
No, not to scale. Sorry. This scene.
Were you intimidated to work with Christopher Lloyd? Because he was a huge star at this point. I mean, not only Back to the Future, which I'm sure you dug, but we're talking Taxi, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I mean,
let's go back a second.
Sure.
I want you to see something here.
Yeah, no
Because
problem.
this is the kind of thing that Chris Lloyd dedicated himself to.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Here we go. Okay.
What are you doing?
When your dad was your age, you always wanted to go see an Apollo moon rocket go off at Cape Kennedy. And I'd always say something like, hey, that's a great idea, sport. As soon as I get done going over these inventory reports, we'll start planning that trip. I saw in the paper today, the space shuttle is going off next week. I figure space food sticks in the tang your dad put in the car back in the 60s. Still good. If I drive day and night, I'll get there in time to get a good seat down on the beach. Want to come along?
Can't. I got school.
I'll write you a note.
They won't take it. You're not my dad.
Yeah. I guess that's true. I'll be back. Sooner or later.
And he just gave a lot.
Yeah.
That he didn't have to.
Well, for instance, the first scene you see him, he's dressed as a barbarian and wielding an axe, slinging it around, and then gives a performance like that in the same performance as the same character. That goes to show the range of Christopher Lloyd and the complexities he puts into his characters.
And the fact that he cared enough to dive deep into it as opposed to just making it a caricature.
Yeah.
A lot of these matte paintings, by the way, I did because we couldn't afford them. So I did them on my Mac in Photoshop. Thank you, John Knoll.
Wow.
Did you see what he put up in the town square?
And here's something that you don't see in a kid's movie very often.
Yeah.
It's moving, look!
How did you guys conceptualize this leaning tower of
of pumpkins?
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. It seemed like, well, we needed something massive, obviously. I think there was a moment in the original script that we took over in a grocery store with a pile of pumpkins 20 feet high in a grocery store that fell on him. And it's like, that's not enough to kill anybody. It'll embarrass them, but it won't kill them.
Beautiful. Possible. Pile of pumpkins.
So we said, all right, I think we might have gone a little too far on saturation on the color. And the,
Remember Curtis Danko.
Oh, what the heck?
You're probably like, all right, we have a
Say if you
pumpkin
ever buy
budget.
another pumpkin. I haven't had pumpkin pie in 20 years.
Bill, what's pumpkin pie?
I'd love to see Christopher Lloyd play Santa Claus as well because he's.
he'd be great.
Yeah.
I actually have a project where he'd be perfect. It's called Santa Claus Down. It's about what happens when NORAD shoots Santa Claus down. Uh-oh.
But
Yeah, and now Patrick Reed Johnson, you went there.
I went there.
Yeah.
Yep. He got beaned. Or
Yeah.
pumpkined.
Did Fox or anybody else give you a lot of crap about this scene particularly?
Nope. Not at
Really?
all.
Huh.
I mean, they were so...
I missed
honestly,
the 90s.
Well, it helps that David Madden had said, financial box,
I always
you
thought
can't escape. Creative box,
Yeah.
do what you want.
But for me,
And he trusted me.
just the beginning.
Crazy person.
God, like
For 3
first,
days,
everyone watching this movie right now,
wrung their hands and
you
shed a
killed
few
Doc
light
Brown,
tears.
man. I just say Doc Brown. It's such like there's so many roles he's done that I love him. I would say you killed Fester Adams.
I lay
You killed the guy in,
between
you
the
know,
earth and what lies beyond.
I mean, he's so, I mean,
Held
Yeah,
in
so many
ice,
characters.
like some
you know,
cold,
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, or
He killed
you
the
know,
dude from Camp Nowhere, man.
I had unfinished business in the world of the living.
He was nothing
I
like
love-
Doc Brown.
Okay,
Go ahead.
was the narration always there? Or did you add that in later to kind of like put things together?
We decided very late in the game in post-production that we could bridge a lot and change a lot with his narration, and he did it in one night. We had like 5 hours with him before he had to get on a plane to go to another film. I think in Australia, believe it or not, while we were in Los Angeles, and he came in and he just nailed it. And we had written it just a couple of days before,
Crazy costumes.
and he
His
again
standard all over the house.
he was done. He wasn't getting any more money. He was, you know, he came in because he
You were building models
cared.
or sharing
Yeah.
the space food sticks with you, or did you even
Okay,
really
because
know who he was?
it's kind of interesting because his narration comes right after his death scene, and I was wondering if that was the studio out saying, "Can you please tell everybody he's going to be alive a lot sooner than when you do
Well,
see him?"
No, it wasn't that. It was that what we finally decided was that the story needed a framework that was not Danny's framework, because Danny talking about himself was too much.
Yeah,
But Danny's grandfather talking about what happened to everybody from beyond the grave
Mhm.
was more interesting. This scene I'm super happy about. One of the first scenes we shot.
yeah,
And Brittany Burns is just wonderful in this.
I remember when my grandparents died. At first, it doesn't seem real. And when it finally hits you that they're really dead, you start thinking about all that gross stuff that's happening to their bodies down there.
You don't mind. I still, it doesn't seem real part. Thanks for the cheery thought.
But it is cheery when you think about it. I mean, the dying part is sad and probably scary, just because you can't do anything about it. What comes next? It's like a miracle in reverse. Cells breaking down, the flesh disintegrating, everything dissolving away, turning to the earth from which it all came. Till all that's left is the memory of the space you once filled in someone's heart.
Aren't you a cheerleader?
I mean, she took something that was both profound and and satirical at the same time, and made it beautiful.
I know, and same thing with Christopher Lloyd's speech before they left. Like, he could have said it a whole different way. The page is an open book, and what they did with it is quite amazing. Josh said only Patrick could take out the page master. That's true. And what's on the shelf, aka Jen Raby, says hi. Hey, what's up?
Hi.
So those who are just joining us, we are watching When Good Ghouls Go Bad, an amazing Halloween movie that not too many people have heard of, unfortunately, and that's what we're here for today.
This is the most extreme use of the color correction. We got to remember, everything we shot in this scene was bright jungle green.
You know what? That's incredible, and kudos to digital. That's a digital art form that's not abused, but it's enthused.
It was unheard of when we did it, and in fact, even the guys doing it were like, "I don't know, are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure. Let's do this." All those leaves are bright green.
It's life-changing what a difference that is, man, because it would ruin the mood to see all that green.
Okay.
I know. And it's not real. It doesn't reflect reality. It reflects a memory or a feeling of that time and place and the Halloween spirit. That was the whole idea.
You're right, man. Sometimes even my best Halloweens as a kid, I'm sure if I wasn't looking through it through the prism of childhood, probably would be just okay nights. But, you know, when I was a kid, this is the way I'd see the world. And this house is nuts. Tell me about the creation of this. Where did you find this location? You build it?
This is on set. This is on stage at Fox Studios in Sydney.
Okay.
Leslie Binns and his amazing team built this whole thing, and they did it without any money. I mean, the whole movie. I can't remember the budget, but it was so low that this should not have been possible. But Les Binns and his team said, "Look, you got to have a good haunted house. Let's get it for you," and they did it. And I got to tell you, I mean, Brittany Burns is so talented. I mean, they're both talented.
How'd you get it here with all
But
these
Brittany was, I don't want to say more clever, but she was just clever enough to constantly be challenging Joe Pickler's energy with her smarts.
All summer long, kids have been sneaking out after dark to help me build this.
The jack-o'-lanterns are stunning.
Saving up all the candy their parents give them, so we can trick or treat in here.
So aren't you guys afraid?
And the setup is great. There's this girl who doesn't want, and she's been leading a revolution against the old people who won't have Halloween. And she's like, why? She has no clue as to what really happened.
They all feel pretty safe.
Did you ever just hang out on your set when you weren't filming just because you love Halloween so much? Because I can see you doing that.
I feel just a little bit scared.
You know, there was so much going on. I wish I could have. I didn't. I was too involved in figuring out what happens next week and the week after. There were moments that I walked on the sets when no one was around on a weekend or something, just to kind of pre-think how I would shoot something. Luckily, you know, Brian Breeny, the genius cinematographer who did Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, and, you know, working on my little goofy film, was so right on in his assessment of what to do with this silly little film.
Ever since Kelly Steranowitz told me you were poking around in here. People tell you things.
I love how all the kids have characters, like true characters, and they, like, there's a movie like Juno where everyone talks the same. You know, no matter who's
they're all
talking,
one voice.
They're all one voice. They're all the same. They all use the same language and vernacular.
They're all cool.
They're all cool. He is so polar opposite from these two others.
You can't make us
Like, you have the sarcastic future goth girl,
Let's do the
You have
I
your-
really worked hard, and John Lau worked hard with me, and we worked very, very hard to give each of these characters actual voices. And people say, "Oh yeah, in a 13 Days of Halloween Disney film, oh profundity." Yeah, you know what? You can do that. You can actually be profound in any film, and there's profundity in this. It's not we're not, I'm not Terrence Malick, but but there's some poetry in this, and these kids and these artists help capture that.
No way. That's where
Absolutely.
we're gonna put the dancing.
And it's the marriage of like visual meets audio. Like the score is great. The score is mischievous. It's
well, my God, the score is. We didn't deserve what we got, and we got it, and it was. I can't even. I can't get over the fact that we got a score by Christopher Gordon. It's just. This is a guy that scores major motion pictures, and not just Australian-based ones, but just a guy who is an award-winning and a genius composer. And he took this on, and he said, and he dove into the beauty of it.
Beauty indeed. And Patrick, you're an emotional guy. Tell me about the first time you heard the score. I'm sure there must have been what was the moment? Did you drop what you were holding? I'm sure you got one of those in you.
I am, and I'm known for this, for better or for worse. I'm known for being very emotional in scoring sessions, because to me, when the composer understands what you were attempting to do and nails it with the orchestra and the orchestration and the melody and the leitmotifs. And I think the moment that hit me the hardest was when he nailed the waltz at the end of the film. And I don't want to say more than that for those who haven't seen it, but you know what I'm talking about.
My friend Yannick said he almost cried. I definitely teared up at
being in the scoring session and hearing him hit that moment and hitting it in a way that I knew would translate.
It's you. It's okay. Danny. Oh, it's me. It's Uncle Fred.
You're dead.
Apparently not. But when I nearly killed myself when I looked in the mirror, come on. A tie?
You weren't moving at all.
No.
You weren't even breathing.
Sure. Look that way. You tried breathing in one of these monkey suits. Gotten just enough oxygen through my skin to keep me alive.
I like suits.
That happens,
Yeah, me too.
Your skin actually breathes.
Okay, that makes sense. But what happened?
I don't know. All I know is I got beamed by a pumpkin. The lights went out, and the next thing I know, I wake up in a box 6 feet under.
What did you do?
I pretty much screamed my lungs out. Then there was this sound, suddenly, like this scratchy noise from the outside of the coffin. And then, bang! Something breaks through the wood, and there's voices and hands pulling me out. Ooh.
Who was it?
I don't know.
So you must have saved a few $1,000s by telling that instead of showing that?
To be honest with you,
Well, yeah, for sure. But because Chris completely owns it.
Yeah.
He doesn't phone it in.
I call him on his cell phone. Hi, this is your
No, you believe him too.
father calling from the
That's the thing, is that Chris got the idea that this is not a caricature. It's not a silly character. It's a guy.
milk this almost dead thing for at least a month's sympathy, don't you?
At least.
I've met Chris Lloyd twice, and it's incredible that in person, all that manic energy he could put into a character when he talks to you just as a guy, you could tell it's like he's like a charging station. Like, he'll be like, okay. Yes.
No, Chris was, the first, this is the scene that most people remember from this film more than anything. So we should probably let it almost play out.
All right.
Uncle Fred, where are you going?
Out for a little hot air.
Don't you think you'd be better off lying down?
Lying down? Are you kidding? I've been lying down for almost 20 years. I just got a new lease on life. Not gonna waste it this time.
Wait, what if it isn't so much a lease as it is a rental? I mean, what if you're not as well as you think you are? Don't you think people might freak if they see somebody walking down the street whose funeral they just went to yesterday?
Alex, we see your question. We'll go right to it.
Get those mouth-breathing Neanderthal kids out my behind before I eat their non-existent brains! Something wrong with your jaw, Miss Holmes. You're in such good shape.
Hey, Patrick, it's a little loud on your end. I'm not sure if they'll be able to hear it.
You're right! Or at least I was. And I was resting pretty darn comfy.
Can you hear it now?
Oh, yeah, it's just, well, you know, we're just dealing with life and circumstances, so.
Now, world beyond this world, Kendall! Times beyond this time! Where's your shoes? Away from me! Not a chance, pal! I didn't dig my way out of the ground just to let you get away with this. I came to get you and take you back to that grave. Let's go! Anybody else want a piece of me?
You know, again, and as you know, because you've talked to him, Chris is not like this.
No.
He's
You just lost your
he's sort of like, oh, yeah. I mean, the first time he and I hung out in Australia after he arrived, I was at dinner at this really cool little restaurant at the base of the hotel, and I just having dinner. He walks in, he goes, "Oh, hello. What are you eating there?" And I said, "Oh, pasta dish." He goes, "Oh, that looks pretty good. Mind if I have a taste?" But there's no manic in him at all.
No.
I don't know where he conjures it from. He tells a great story of being an off-Broadway actor in training with people like Meryl Streep and all the greats in the early '60s that were learning that world that they inhabit. And he was a dramatic actor. In fact, stand by.
Yeah.
Just for giggles.
Yeah.
I want to stop this for a second because this is a great story. So Chris Lloyd says to me, he's talking about the fact that, you know, he's rooming with famous actors and he's hanging out with famous actors, and he was an off-Broadway dramatic actor. He was deeply committed to great dramatic acting in New York in the early '60s, late '50s. One day he gets a call and somebody says, "You got to go audition for this play. It's called Barefoot in the Park by this new author, Neil Simon." Right? No.
Okay.
So he goes, and some of your audience may have heard of Neil Simon, and some of them may have heard of Barefoot in the Park, and they'll get this joke before anybody else. But he goes, he auditions, and he gets the part immediately. And he rehearsed for like 3 weeks. And one day the director says, "Chris, you do know it's a comedy, right?" And he went, oh, no, wait, oh my, I read it, and I saw the tragedy, and you know, he literally had, his radar and his perception of things is go for the drama, go for the pathos, go for the internal beauty and terror and love and, you know, all the emotions, and he's not even looking for the jokes. Jokes to him are things that exist on the you know, they're accreted on the top of a level of understanding of a character that's so beautiful, and that's why he worked for Uncle Fred, because the jokes belie an underlying tragedy, and he totally grasped that, right?
Alex was asking, how many takes would Chris do?
0.5. No, no. He. That's a good question. He never. I mean, he didn't have a limit. I mean, some actors do. I mean, and he's working with very inexperienced for the most part, except for Joe Pickler, who was pretty experienced. But the rest of the young people he was working with were newcomers completely. He wasn't precious. He would do it. I mean, the good news about Chris was he would do it until we got it done. And he never complained. He didn't say, come on, another one. You know, he just was like, nope, let's do it again. Let's try something else. You know, which is profound, because especially when you're dealing with younger and inexperienced actors, sometimes they're just not going to get there for a while. And he could have said, okay, I'm done. You just shoot them. I'm out. He never did that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
For those of you who want to hear other stories of Patrick working with younger actors, with more accomplished older actors, make sure you check out on this channel the Angus special we did, in which we go into great detail about Charlie working with George C. Scott and Kathy Bates.
I would say that Chris was absolutely the equal of George in terms of patience with younger actors, and that's a profoundly good thing to do. I mean, if this was if this was 12 Angry Men, a remake, it'd be different. But both Chris and people like George completely understood, and not just understood, but supported and celebrated that they had younger people who did not know the craft the way they knew it, and didn't have the discipline or the maturity to play by the rules that the older folks played by. And rather than, punish them or diminish them, both George and Chris consistently said, let's find a way and let's support them. So here, I'll keep playing here.
All right. Oh, sorry. There we go. So that's a hand in there, everybody.
Yep.
But you know what happens when those fireflies come around?
Fred Walker now walks the earth.
Nathy Gaffney, who is a treasure.
You should move the mouse just a bit, because it's telling you exactly how long's left of the movie.
Okay.
So he allowed us to think we shut him down. And all of a sudden, weird things start happening. Halloween decorations appear in the middle of the night. Then he and Dad fake the old man's death so he can rise from the grave and start freaking people out. That way he figures when the guys with the Deutschmarks get here, the whole place will be going crazy and it'll seem absolutely real. Which the Germans find hysterical, so they end up being even more entertained than they would have been. And they end up giving Walker all the money he'll need to save the town.
Walker Falls,
What's so
everybody.
bad about that?
But
What's so bad about that is that Curtis Danko really is going to come and kill us all if we don't stop Walker's greedy little plan.
Dad, you're my hero.
Takes one to recognize one, Matter of fact, we come from a long line of underappreciated heroes.
A bunch of flat top angry men.
Yeah. But Nathy, who's an accomplished actress from stage and screen, and
Dana.
Oh.
What do you want?
Listen, I'm really sorry I didn't stick up for you before, but I have something really weird to tell you, and I think you're the only person who just might believe me, not think I'm crazy, even though I might be. I don't think I am. Can I tell you now?
Yes.
You know my dad, Uncle Fred?
Yes.
Well, he's not so dead anymore.
I can't believe you'd use your dead Uncle Fred to try and get back into my good graces.
I'm not.
Mom, how did you find this place?
Oh, it wasn't hard. I just followed the fuse that leads from here all the way to the $600 bomb we got in the mail today from the electric company.
I can explain.
No,
Wow.
Dana, you can't explain. No one can explain the behavior of a teenager. I know, I tried once. But I had to go through this cankle premiere nightmare thing. Just for your punishment for this inexplicable teenage behavior, you can either pay for this bill out of your allowance for the next 370 years, or you can go to the cankles with me.
I'll pay.
We'll go. I mean, there's a lot of inexplicable behavior going on today.
I don't even want to know. You two just go get in the car. I'm gonna call your dad.
You don't have to do that. I mean, you know how busy he gets.
Just go.
So Julia says, I think she remembers Dana appearing in Babe as James Cromwell's granddaughter who reacted to that dollhouse. Well, shot in Australia.
I think that's correct.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know
We haven't spoken about her yet.
my daughter and me.
Oh, we can.
Let's do it. Tell me about working with this lovely, this talented actor.
Brittany Burns?
Yeah.
I mean, she came in, she auditioned.
Got the Germans in the air.
I probably saw 50 people for the part, and it was instantaneous. She was infinitely better than all of them, and it wasn't even a question.
I'll go.
And Australian,
Time with Danny.
along with everyone she had to co-star with, Imelda right here.
Falls, yanking down.
You know, I've had really good luck in my life so far casting young people. You know, Ariana Richards in Space Invaders, who then got discovered because of Space Invaders for Jurassic Park by Steven. And I mean, for better or for worse, star of. Oh, I don't know if I should. Maybe I shouldn't do this. Dawson's Creek.
Yeah.
But that's all right. You know, again, here's Christopher Gordon putting in this beautiful music, these great themes. You know, he built these leitmotifs for these various characters and these thematic moments in the film. And these are the kind of things that people don't really do often for a Disney or Fox family film, you know?
It almost seems like a Charlie Brown score. And,
it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Meant to be. That was the inspiration. Okay, here's a funny thing. I want to stop this for a second. Again. So
sure. Let's do it.
One of the things I teach my students at UNCSA is that directors need to know something about visual effects. So I'm going to play this a little further. All right, this shot right here.
Okay.
Doesn't exist in the library of shots that we shot.
Okay.
We needed a shot of Uncle Fred sitting in his car across the street from the Cankles' house for the big, what was it? It's sort of a yard sale Oktoberfest auction thing to raise money for the campaign.
Yeah.
And we couldn't afford the shot. And I told the studio we needed the shot. And the studio said, we don't have any more money. We're done. And so I said, okay. So I grabbed a shot from another shot of the foreground bit of Christopher Lloyd in the car from a completely earlier scene, dropped it down to a still and, just dropped it into the front of a plate shot that we had done of the front of the Cankle house.
Okay.
So this, I did this on literally on my Apple laptop I don't think it was even Premiere. I think it was probably in Final Cut Pro. And this is the final that's in the film. Now, it's not the greatest shot that's ever been done by any stretch. And once I point it out to you, you can go, yeah, I can see it's an effect shot.
Okay.
But when you're watching the film and not aware that it's an effect shot, nobody's ever noticed.
All right.
But it's the kind of thing that directors need to know how to do. I mean, if you need a shot, and you know that impressionism can actually sell something without people being aware of that you've sold them, something that shouldn't work, you can get away with a lot.
All right, so let's see this shot.
Let's keep going.
So there I was, parked outside the Kankel estate, trying to figure out how to get in. Suddenly, a miracle occurred.
An homage to Amadeus.
Excuse me, Mr. Cheese. Wow. How much are they paying you to do this part?
Not enough, mate.
Craft weeping kitty cat painting might sell for thousands of dollars in stores. What will you generous folks bid for it?
Not supposed to bid anything. We're unemployed.
That's my voice.
It's a silent auction. Where is that?
So what's exactly his political plan to be mayor? He just wants to eventually call it Kankel Falls or something? Like,
He just wants to take over the town.
yeah.
Chris Lloyd is this clown is something I don't know if he's ever looked better or cooler than this. Sit, stay.
Not his first time chasing around
Wait till I
a
get my
hand.
hands on you.
Yeah. Thing, get back here.
Yeah, wait, oh, shh.
You the clown? Yeah.
You the clown.
Been buried. Let's go.
I've just been buried. Clever writing. Who did that? No, I'm kidding.
The POV from the fireflies shots, was that in the script? Is some of your screwing
Yeah, we
around
wrote
on the
that.
day?
I wrote that. I wrote that in. Yeah.
Wait until
Okay.
Walker
This is
sees
great.
what he's got in
Watch
store
this.
for him tonight. He's gonna pee his pants.
Am I gonna pee my pants too?
My dad put his own lock on the crypt to make sure it was good and secure.
So out of nervousness, you'd think an actor would say his lines too fast, but the bully guy, man, he's so good at he's playing a song, and he will not stop playing the song.
That's right.
It's great.
He's wonderful.
Well, where is he?
Just keep your eye out for his hand. If we find his hand, he won't be far behind.
Dad, what are you doing here?
I'm taking
It's the little things, you know?
But why? I mean, who's putting decorations up at the factory? I mean, who's making the chocolate?
Who's meeting the Germans?
All right, so this subplot, this is wonderful.
Wait.
How did
I figured since Halloween isn't
How'd
good.
you
I got to
think of
stop
this?
it because I got to go back because this is again the kind of thing where hold on,
What are you doing here?
I'm taking
Yeah.
the night off.
hang on.
But why? I mean, who's putting decorations up at the factory? I mean,
Again,
who's making
leaves
the
were
chocolate?
green.
Who's meeting the Germans?
Okay, who's meeting the Germans at the airport? Right
Yeah.
there's the airport, right?
Yeah.
No, not an airport. It was like a bus station in Sydney, and we just put up a couple of signs and put some people with luggage, and suddenly it's an airport arrivals terminal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you spend any time looking at it, you can look up here and say, "Do you see my little cursor? Is
Yeah.
it moving up?"
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I see.
So this is clearly like old school architecture, but you don't notice it. You're looking at the graphics and this area down here, and it's one of the things I teach my students, that everything's impressionism. The feeling of this modern architecture up here and these arrival things right here, and the fact that there are people with luggage trolleys down here, you go, yep, airport, and yet not even close. So I don't know, it's the kind of thing where I keep telling people, it's all impressionism. Just fool them for a few seconds because they want to be fooled. The audience wants to be fooled. So
Hold it!
So the whole idea is that we've got this German concern that's thinking of possibly buying out the old Walker chocolate factory. And he, the father, Tom Amandus's, James character, Jamie, is trying to, load it off on them and get rich and get the hell out of town, right? He doesn't value he feels that he was ignored by his father for his father's success in the business. And in the process of trying to unload the factory and make a success for himself, he's been ignoring his son, ergo, continuing the pattern.
Yeah.
And so the Germans are just on their way. And his secretary is madly in love with the German, CEO who's coming to visit, just because she likes his voice on the phone kind of thing, which we saw earlier in the film. So
since Halloween isn't going to happen, might as well make the best of what we've got. If our chocolate doesn't speak for itself,
Wow, that sounds exactly like this year.
Spectaculariousness is going to make investors jump aboard. Besides, when's the last time that you and I had a night out together?
Look, who cares? What kind of crazy stuff you got? I mean, come on, hurry, go. I mean, you've got work to do. Here, I'll go with you. We'll all go. Who wants to put up Halloween?
It's gonna be fun. No, it'll be fun. No, really. We'll get some drinks.
Either clown, be funny, or else.
Sit down, have fun. Shall we?
Hi, kids. Who wants to see some magic? Put it there, pal. Go ahead, kid. Shake.
That's my boy. I was always afraid of clowns, too.
What's wrong?
That's my dad, Fred.
It's Cheesy the Clown.
That's my dad, Fred, dressed up like Cheesy the Clown.
Doesn't look very dead to me.
That's my point.
My magic hat has disappeared, and I need it back. If I'm going to hand you this $100 bill, whoever finds a magic hat gets that dough. Somewhere in the house.
Pennywise, eat your heart out.
Right. Great sound design in this film too, especially for a TV movie for Disney.
Yeah.
Or Fox. Yeah.
I'm surprised this hasn't reached the Disney Plus yet. I mean, Uncle Boogedy. I suppose they want to favor all their home brand stuff first.
Maybe it may be that they just know that. It was a ratings winner. I mean, it made incredible ratings. I think Fox expected it to do a 1.7 or something in revenue or in ratings, and it did like a 4.3. And the president of the studio called me up and said, "Oh my God, it was only programmed for the one night on the 13 days of Halloween," and suddenly they were like, "We're going to program it as many nights as we can,"
Well, if I was at that age that I was supposed to be when it came out, I would have been totally into this.
I think I'm gonna be sick.
We gotta get you out of here.
I hate to leave empty-handed.
Lots of puns.
Lots of that.
Hey, just where do you two think you're headed?
Oh, just helping the backpack up. Yeah, just lending them a hand.
Guess they look like they're having fun.
So am I.
So what exactly happens if the dad's successful at hooking up with her mom? He seems to have some feelings for her as well. That happens a lot. Mothers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to remember they were romantically entwined back in high school. They grew up together.
Worst days of my life.
But he left town and she stayed and married well,
Wow,
she
what
said,
is that?
and then
Yeah.
divorced. And
Oh, that's
so
fine.
it's a rekindling.
It's just been
Divorced
so long
well.
since
Yeah.
I've received a rose.
Well, there are more where that came from.
Oh, that's what you said when you gave me my last one. Back when we had all the time in the world.
We still do.
Good for you, man. There was like 7 seconds of dramatic pause right there. That's something you don't get in TV movies. Cause,
And then it turns into this ridiculousness.
yeah. But they're always like rushing. I find like TV movies now, because they're worried that kids have no attention spans, they just move. But then you don't know why you're moving anymore.
Right, exactly.
Because any other explanation would be really creepy.
Let's go find.
I mean, they're the B story, but I wanted the B story to have some value beyond just reacting to the kids, you know.
Uncle Fred? You know how you said somebody busted you out of your coffin? I stopped by the cemetery on my way home from school, and there wasn't any hole in your grave, which means whoever busted you out had to do it from under the ground.
Who the heck could be under the...
She's so good.
Oh, this is crazy. Okay, so I'm really glad we're watching this together. This movie, in its third act, I suppose this is, really goes somewhere else too, especially with like this all the dead coming back. Like you just could have rested on your laurels of Uncle Fred's back,
Right.
and that's enough. But then this happens, and it goes to another level, which makes the movie even more interesting to watch, because just when you think you've had it figured out, this happens, and this is even before our resident Davey Havoc lookalike comes back.
Yeah.
I picked especially, it's German, Wagner.
Wagner.
I'm not going fast enough for you. I know how you fellas drive like the Dickens on that auto van.
Did you have a hard time narrowing down everything that would happen in the story?
Not really. I mean, John and I worked really hard to give each segment of the story its due.
Yeah.
And of course, intellectual stuff like this.
Thought you said we were going to use glue. Come on, just one more to go.
This is a good one.
Just a sec. I gotta stop my dog from eating something.
This is all pre-digital, you know. This is all just green screen and cleverness and. Good sound design.
How come my boots are on the wrong feet?
Oops.
Did Chris Lloyd enjoy being in the makeup?
I mean, I don't know that enjoyment is the word I'd use, but he certainly was probably more tolerant than most people. He was having fun, and he enjoyed being in Australia for sure. That I know.
Take the devil to his new home.
Oh yeah.
Ready? That's the key to Curtis Danko's crypt.
What did you do? What did you do?
Was that at all this hand? Like, this hand was written before Chris Lloyd joined the cast, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a coincidence that Fester and Thing have some screen time, but that's total coincidence.
Totally. I love these guys. These two together in this scene. Two of my favorite Australian actors doing two American idiots really well.
We got a little problem.
What kind of little problem, man?
Just, we broke into Curtis Danko's crypt.
Sounds like some kids messing around.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, except there are some items missing from the premises.
Such as
Curtis Danko's art project.
Curtis isn't gonna like that, Ed. He's not gonna like that at all.
I figured that one out for myself. Mainly on account of the fact that the other missing item is Curtis Danko! Not exactly. There's only one.
God, the energy.
They're leading away from the crypt. It's out there somewhere, Ed.
Looking for that horrible sculpture of his. The one that nearly burned the eyes out of my head when I looked at it. We have to find that sculpture, Ed. We can't let him burn the eyes out of the entire town now, can we, Ed? Yes, we, Ed. We both know how Curtis Danko really got into that kiln. Now, don't we, Ed? I think you better find that sculpture before Curtis Danko finds you.
This might be my favorite moment in the movie, actually.
He looks like he's constantly being strangled, which is a talent.
Yeah. One of my matte paintings.
Interesting option package.
That looked like my car. Interesting option package. Okay, well, look at that.
That's better.
All right, there we go.
Not better. Why is this?
This is great. This is Joe.
1 minute you're alive, and the next minute you're dead, and the next minute you're alive again, but you're still dead. And then all of a sudden there's arms and legs and screw guns and zombies.
Danny, it's okay. We're safe. There are no zombies here.
You're a zombie.
I mean, besides me.
How did this happen?
Danny, listen to me. You remember all those millions of fireflies we tried to catch this summer? And how one day, when it started to turn cold, they just didn't come back? What do you think happened to them?
He died, I guess.
Remember how that weird kid from down the block used to smash him and rub the glow stuff all over his face like war paint? And it still glowed even after the fireflies were all mushed up. Why do you think that happens?
Beautiful
Chemical
scene.
reaction in the air.
No, Danny. It's magic. When all those millions of fireflies die, their bodies come undone and release their magic into the ground. And it just collects down there, waiting for someone to use it. But to do that, you need to wish harder than you ever wished for anything. To still be here with the people you love.
Or the people you hate. If Uncle Fred can wish himself back, why couldn't Curtis Danko? And if he got loose, then nothing could kill him either. Just imagine what he might do.
Especially if he had help.
Man, all these long, almost soliloquies that Lloyd's doing, everything is believable, you know? He's talking about coming back from the dead like a firefly, and you buy it.
Yep.
And that scene looks oddly like like the music video "Lost in the Garden of Eden" by Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a moment in here that's my favorite moment in the movie. If you can guess it, it's coming in.
I know there are some strange things going on here, but there has to be a logical explanation. There's nothing to be afraid of.
Well, someone or something put up all those Halloween decorations, and if it's the living dead, I'm gonna have to vote for being afraid.
Okay, it's coming up. You'll see.
Okay. Oh, I think I know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dad. Hi.
Was it back? Was it back there?
No, it's coming.
Okay.
You know, that's a very interesting story.
Oh yeah, interesting.
Is something wrong, Danny?
Dad, What if people who really loved Halloween, like, say, Uncle Fred, for example, what if they had Halloween, issues that they weren't quite over when they died? Did you ever think they might, you know, stay and work through their issues by, say, rising from the grave?
Not really, no.
Hi, son.
That's not it. That's a good one.
They didn't take that as well.
I'm a good fan of a good old feint.
Run for your lives! They're everywhere! They're putting up Halloween decorations!
Oh!
Doesn't anyone knock anymore?
What do they want?
They want the statue.
Statue? What statue?
Where are we gonna find the statue?
I know where the statue is.
If Curtis wants it so badly that he's going to raise the dead, maybe if we get it first, we can use it as bait.
Bait? For what?
To lure him back to the grave.
Exactly. Once Curtis is in his crypt, we slam the door and lock him with a chain, and he can sit in there screaming and stomping all he likes. But he'll be trapped long enough.
Long enough for what?
Remember how when that weird kid down the block smushed all those fireflies and rubbed the glowing stuff all over himself? How it would eventually fade and die?
Okay. Okay. We have to get out of here. We have to run.
Run! I can't even walk. You guys, get Curtis Danko's statue and return it. I'll take care of your mom and dad. What are you waiting for? Go, 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 go! Hurry! Zombies! Oh!
Hello.
I take these two. I need their brains.
Nice try, Uncle Fred. But we have other plans for them. And you.
Oh, yeah.
Was that it?
No. Here it comes.
Okay. Oh, well, it's
Sorry,
one of
it
my
took me a minute
favorite.
to-
God, I hate this guy.
We gotta get out of here! Destroy that statue of his before he gets his hands on it!
What did he do to us with a statue?
It nearly burned the eyes out of my head just glancing at it. Maybe if anyone looks at it any longer, they
This is it. There we go.
burst into flame, turn into a pillar of salt or something. Is that what you want? What are you doing?
I just want to leave something for my family so they know what my last moments were like.
I'm sorry. That is my favorite joke in the whole movie.
Really? Okay.
Because
I like this
It's-
one. I'm fond of this.
Yeah.
Just the guy who just has to ruin it for everyone. Just like, what a jerk.
Yeah. Oh, that's a map painting of mine.
There's this movie I love called Anna and the Apocalypse, and something similar happens.
The cemetery.
Where this big jerk just opens the door and screws stuff for everyone.
Where are all the zombies coming from?
Yeah, I need more zombies down.
I need more zombies down. So-and-so.
Okay, love the blue.
We need more zombies at the corner of 5th and Euclid. Waste anything but time.
All units, the citizens of Walker Falls have all been accounted for, except for Dana Stenson and my grandson, Danny Walker.
grandma's a zombie. My grandma's a zombie. My grandma's a zombie. Would you freak a little quieter? My grandma's a zombie.
Everyone out there watching, thank you very much
Hey,
for watching with us so far.
you
Movie's
seen,
not over yet,
Brian Cankle?
but it's God, I love that. I love the colors of blue you guys
Okay,
chose.
Thanks.
They're not real. They make no sense, but
That's
they're
amazing.
Halloween
Look at this. Look how
colors.
fun this looks.
Yeah.
A Halloween party is
Actually-
an art form, especially even
You'll see
faking it.
soon enough, or not, depending on how much money you got in your pocket.
You wear a costume, you big jerk.
Danko is alive. When you stole his statue, you woke him up and made him mad. Now he's coming back to take what's his.
Man, you walkers never give up, do you? You think I believe in all
My
this zombie
my
garbage?
5-year-old son makes a cameo in the scene coming up here.
Oh, really?
He's my that guy right there. Oop.
Oh,
This little guy.
Oh.
Oh yeah, nice try. As if a real zombie would wear a fake rubber mask like this.
I love this, man. You guys go there.
Yeah, we do. This is where it gets nuts. And my team and the art department and everybody pulled this off in a way that I never believed we could, but they made it happen.
Oh man, I love this part.
I think it is. I think so. Oh, jeez. He's gonna eat our brains. He's gonna eat our brains. Chill, Brian. You'll be fine.
This is.
You got some thriller. Patrick, this movie's awesome.
Thank you.
Look, all these scenes, like, I've seen so many cheap Disney movies that just be like, look, over there. And then you look over there, it's all on stilts. Like, they just fell through the floor. And that's just, like, part of it. Other people have been like, and in half an hour, they'll fall through the floor once. Big action piece. Like, kudos to your team for really putting all that into this. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to see Batman's Secret Origins.
By the way, all the movement of
Like you make a reservation
For 1,500.
all of the movements of Curtis Danko.
He wants to show us what's under the shroud. He wants to burn our eyes out and make our heads explode.
It's all my wallet going like this.
We're all gonna die.
Foley
We're gonna get
is my
rid of it.
wallet.
We're gonna
All the-
Nice. So that's a marionette, right?
Yep.
Yeah. When he pulls off that shroud, we turn to stone. Burst into flames or something.
sorry. In hindsight, I can't believe this many people believed looking at the statue would do that. Like,
Wait, please. Don't hurt these people. It's not their fault. If I hadn't wanted to be such a big hero.
Yeah! No, it's my fault. I'm the one who talked all the other kids into having another Halloween.
Yeah, she did. No! It's my fault. I knew that Ryan broke into your crypt and stole the statue, but I was too afraid to stand up to him or tell anyone.
Yeah, you coward. Hey, come on. I fell victim to a compelling urban legend. It's true.
here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, he went home to change.
Zombie's dead! I did it! I killed him! I win! I saved the town! Who are you gonna call? Bob Cherney? I don't think so. Who are you gonna call? James Walker? Matt? Who are you gonna call? Coach Danko! Look at me! I'm king of the world! Nice work.
And thank you for that. I like how guys who are high school stars need to remind everybody that they were.
I don't understand.
You stupid, dirty, no-good, jealous weasel!
You mean to tell me that all these years we had no Halloween because of this?
Brilliant, man.
Thanks.
How could I be a hero to you? I built the kiln. It's my fault.
Uh-oh. Do you think their family survived this day?
Accident. I swear.
You were there?
Just a prank. You're just trying to scare him. We didn't know the kiln would get turned on.
But you said you saw the statue when you went in the kiln the next day. That it was pure evil. You told everyone that it was too horrifying to look at.
I let anyone see that I was wrong all along about Curtis Danko.
So you wrote The Curse in the Ashes. You came out pretending that your eyes were burning. You convinced everyone that Curtis was pure evil, and you took away Halloween for 20 years? Why?
Because his statue of your dad was gonna sit in the town square. Not my statue of my dad.
My dad was a great man. He gave until it hurt in ways you will never understand.
Oh, yeah. Your dad was real generous when it came to the arts and crafts and drama and a marching band and all that other sissy stuff. But asking for money for, oh, say, the Football World theme park and RV campground, like my dad wanted to build, where real men could take their real sons and eat cheese fries and talk stats and have arm punching competitions. Ask him about that, and he just stared at you like he was some kind of nutcase.
I call Edward Cankle.
I love this. How do they all have the same hair?
Or you are gonna get a whooping you won't forget for the rest of your years.
Oh my god. And kudos, by the way, for having a real thing there.
Yeah.
Like, this day and age, it would just be some digital thing, and it would totally lose you.
Yeah. No, it works.
There's empathy in those eyes.
Yeah.
And Lloyd could act to death with a shoe, so, you know, of course, put him a marionette in front of him.
She says, "Happy Halloween."
More wallet.
Yeah, lots of wallet.
Ryan, I didn't pee my pants. Dork.
The score is just awesome.
Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah. The thing about
Hello, boys. I must look a sight, huh?
You look good. I mean, you know, all things considered.
You look like you need some rest.
Ooh.
How you feeling, Uncle Fred?
I'm okay, Danny. I'm really okay. Now, why don't you help Dana with her mom? I need to spend a minute alone with your dad.
I understand.
thing is, this
Field of Dreams moment.
This movie is not high art by any but it's sincere. That's all it is. It's just sincere.
So how you really?
Charles Schultz helped me.
I never felt better, actually. You want to know why? Because I finally really know that I'm loved.
327 pictures up in the old office. That should have told you that a long time ago.
Not by the kids of Walker Falls, James. By you. After tonight, you'll probably never see me again. I'll see you. I'll be very, very, very proud.
Thanks.
Now, I have one last thing I'd like to do in the time I have left.
What's that?
I'd like to take your mom dancing with the fireflies.
Would you? I mean, could you ever see yourself
Dancing again?
hypothetically speaking?
Hypothetically speaking, I think we better keep those two a few blocks apart, at least for the next few years. After all, we have all the time in the world.
That's going to make things complicated.
That was his first kiss ever
in
his life. The actor.
Daddy.
Times beyond this time. Worlds beyond this world. All too much to worry about when you've got homework, pimples, bullies, and girls to deal with in the here and now. When the sky finally began to brighten, and we dancers said goodbye to our loved ones and waltzed to dust, it was comforting to know that the dance wasn't really over.
Aw. Everybody listening on Stranger Radio, I gotta cut the feed because there's another show, but we will continue watching on Facebook and YouTube.
Herr Schmidt. Trick or treat. Smell my feet. Give me something good to eat, huh?
Is this an Australian being German?
Yeah.
Yes.
And all the coverage of these guys is reversed. It's flopped to get them with the car to be on the right side and the whole. So we had to shoot.
We are doubling.
It's hard to describe.
On one condition.
What's that?
We put on an even bigger spectacular next year, huh? We have a lot of planning to do. What time shall we meet tomorrow?
7 a.m. bright and early.
Perfect. Sounds good to me.
2 weeks from now. Well, those space food sticks aren't going to last forever, huh?
But what am I going to do in Walker Falls for 2 weeks, huh?
Oh. Literally, what am I going to do?
Who are we gonna do? And
Who you're just we went there.
Yeah. Really, that dancing though, so pretty.
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah. See, what I love about this, and any great true Halloween movie,
Happy Halloween.
I love a good Halloween movie that needs to be Halloween in order for the story to exist. Like Michael
Right.
Myers really could have wore a mask
At any
and killed
time.
anybody. Yeah.
It could have been Christmas. Could have been Thanksgiving. It could have been Labor Day.
Yeah, it could have been Columbus Day. It could have been anything.
Columbus Day.
So movies like this and Ernest Scared Stupid and Trick or Treat, like really true Halloween films. Like they're few and far between the actual ones that don't just sprinkle a little horror on it and like spray paint a tree and put in some pumpkins to really capture an essence of the magic of a holiday. And I think the spirit of the movie, half of it is just the dad pitching the spooktacular. Like that really is what drew me into the movie before all the awesome zombie stuff.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the truth of the matter is, I only took this on. I mean, there were a couple of reasons I took it on. The main reason I took it on was that my good friend David Madden, who had given me my first screenwriting deal when I was 19 years old at 20th Century Fox, asked me to. He had inherited this film as he took over the studio, and he was like, "This is a disaster. What we have won't work. I need somebody to help me. Will you help me? If you do, like I said, financial box, you'll never get out of it. You'll just, bounce around in there like a pinball. But within that box, you can go to town. Literally, just do whatever moves you." And Halloween being my favorite holiday, and having always wanted to do something in a kind of Ray Bradbury, who was a friend and I knew and grew up in the town, one town over from mine in Illinois.
Yeah.
And who inspired me as a young kid to become a writer before I even became a film director. I wanted to do something like the Halloween tree, like some of the October people, something. I didn't want to do the adult version. I want to do the younger, yearning version of that. The younger, testing those waters of the darkness and understanding life and death, and and all these things. And look, a Fox Family 13 Days of Halloween movie might have not been the best place to try to explore that. Yeah. And that was not what they expected. They thought they were going to get something silly, and I tried to give them something better than silly, and it worked out. It worked out because I had the support of David Madden, who let me go there. If it had been made for anybody else, any other executive, any other president of a studio, or at the time Disney proper, they would never have let me explore those themes. I would never have been able to have a speech like Dana's, where she talks about it's beautiful, the flesh dissolving, and the cells breaking down. They would have said, no.
Curtis Danko would have been brought back to life in a Disney version.
He would have, right. He would have magically, they would have found some thing that all they had to do is sprinkle this on it. And he's no longer dead, all the nonsense. The beauty of it is that loss is real, and things change, and we lose things and they go away, but that doesn't mean
they're gone.
That doesn't mean they're gone, and it doesn't mean we can't go on. And at the time, let's say 2001, I hadn't lost anybody particularly significant yet, but I knew that I would in a few years, and it wasn't too many years later that my father died, and I was dealing with the pre-awareness of grief.
Yeah.
And David, bless him, I mean, he let me explore that, and knowing full well that I was working out all kinds of things on his dime and his time, in a movie that was meant to just be a trifle, something, a goofy little confection for a Halloween festival on Fox Family. But I thought to myself, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to do something about life and death and grief and loss and all these things. And I was never, ever even given one iota of challenge against that.
Brian brought up something interesting. Josh did. Said, wouldn't Fred be grandpa and not uncle? But I think he's so synonymously known to the town as Uncle
It's
Fred.
the town. It's an identity, and that's actually part of Josh. It's a great question, because yes, he should be grandpa, but because he was such an icon known in the town as Uncle Fred from Walker Chocolates, even his own family was reduced to calling him Uncle Fred, which is part of the remove that his son Jamie has. It's like I had to call you Uncle Fred as a kid.
Yeah,
and so Josh's question is right. He would be grandpa in any normal family. But in a town where you're an icon and you're known as Uncle Fred, everybody's got to call you Uncle Fred, including your own son and your own grandson, right?
Yeah.
Which is part of the difficulty of this family.
For sure. And so watching this movie with you right now, you know, this movie is about loss. It's also about acceptance and growing up, learning how to grow up. The part that always baffles me, like when we watch this, is an entire town would take the word of some kid. Like, it's a kid's movie, and of course this is what happens, and these are the rules. But I'm like, why did everyone all agree with this pile of crap? Because I'm sure that he is privy to lying about things prior to this. What perpetuated the town?
It's because, like many small towns, his parents, you know, his father was the head of the head coach, and the young sheriff who comes in, his father was the sheriff, and all of these icons in the high school or grade school, you know, middle school, whatever it was, that witnessed this had adult facilitators who said, okay, that sounds good to us, right?
Okay, gotcha.
It's the whole idea of the power of small towns and who's in charge, right?
I guess and no nepotism brought any optometrists to Walker Falls,
right?
Or polygraph examiners.
No, too small a town.
Exactly. Beautiful story. Was there a particular scene when you were filming that made you tear up a bit? Because you're a man who is in touch with his feelings, and I'm assuming like when the stress wasn't boggling you into a state of almost you know, when you're in the trenches and you're just going, you go. It's hard to take a minute. But what is the scene that really like got to you emotionally? Because you know, you're an emotional.
Oh, no
fellow.
question. It was the work of two actors looking at each other and delivering a scene that on paper could have just been. I mean, when Uncle Fred and his son are there at the end, and Uncle Fred is saying, "You're probably not going to see me again soon, but I want you to know, you know, I finally feel really loved." And you know, that moment, the father-son moment at the very, very end, after everything's been revealed and everything's done, and they're saying goodbye, in essence, the goodbye scene between Christopher Lloyd and Tom Amandus, because they're both incredibly talented and trained and disciplined actors. I mean, these are awesome talents that I was lucky enough to have work with me on this silly little film, and they took my words seriously and really dedicated themselves in that moment to doing something that I think. I mean, when I was in the editing room and looking at their takes and looking at this, I was just even watching them shoot it was I was crying just watching. So on set. Amazing. Because I have no problem crying in front of people, none at all. And I reject anyone judging anyone for crying ever.
I was editing an interview. I was editing an interview for a job, not my interview, but I'm an editor by trade. And someone said something that basically said, like, when you're a kid, you're most pure when it comes to your emotions, but you're taught not to cry. But your first instinct is to cry when you're a child, and then later in life you're told not to cry about things. So you're suppressing a feeling. You're
suppressing the innate instinct of humankind.
Yeah.
All humans innately are empathetic. And I'll tell there's a quote, and I want to kill myself for not being able to remember the author's name, but there is an author from way the hell back, it might have even been the 1800s or turn of the century, who said, "How can you write if you can't cry?" And there's another author who, again, I can't remember, thank you very much, who said that all art is the unconscious attempt by the artist to recapture that moment which most moved them as a child. And that's true.
Yeah.
If you look across the breadth of the directors that you love, right? I mean, I teach this in my film classes. I say to my students, what does Steven Spielberg want in every single film he has ever made?
Is to recapture that magic he felt as a child watching movies
But
in the first place.
no, there's more to it than that.
Okay.
There's something very specific. There's not a single Steven Spielberg movie that doesn't at its core have one absolute desire. You know what it is?
Clearly not.
It is to either save or recapture or create a family.
Oh.
And there is no movie he has ever made in any genre that does not have that at its center. Think about it. Even Jaws is about, at the very bottom of it, Brody is trying to save his family.
That's true.
E.T., Elliot wants a family that's whole and safe. Saving Private Ryan. It's a bunch of people. Ryan, all Tom Hanks's character wants us to be either with or to help create along the way as he survives a family that can survive together. There is no Steven Spielberg film that isn't about finding acceptance and safety in the realm of those that will protect you and will be with you and save and be and support who you are. And I think it's beautiful. I think I lost you.
No, you didn't lose me. I was giving you a close-up.
Oh.
I was getting you ready for your close-up, Mr. Director.
Don't do it.
All right.
Anyway, this was amazing. What a lot of fun this was. I
great.
I haven't seen this film in years, and it was very moving to watch it again because and I'm not blowing my own horn. It's the work of so many people who actually threw themselves into it. I'm proud of it, but I'm proud of it in a way that it's about a family. We built a family for this movie, and the people that signed on, and the people that worked on it, and the people that gave to it, for better or for worse. Well, not even for better or for worse. For better, everybody gave something kind and non-cynical and heartfelt to their work. They all took it, dare I say, seriously, even though it's in many ways a silly film, but it's a silly film that's meant to perhaps disarm you with the silliness so that you don't see it coming when it's time for you to feel.
That's true. And not to build somebody up, to knock somebody down, to do so, but let's just say a certain movie star released a Halloween movie that was #1 on Netflix last month, and I found that it had a severe kind of lack of empathy. Like, the character was so character that there was nothing left to feel redeemable about it. Like, the character in said movie, like I said, I don't want to trash anybody I want to prove a point, but I can do that without naming a name. It's just funny, like, the main thing is the entire town's mean to this person, but that's not enough. You know what I mean? Because the character is
right.
essentially Chris Lloyd in the clown outfit the whole time.
Right. I want to know why he's that way and what brought him there and what does he need. There are three questions that all movie characters need to have been asked, or you need to ask as you're writing them, which is, who am I? What do I want? What am I willing to do to get it? Right? If you can't answer those three questions, you have a hollow character.
Yeah.
And in asking them, you have to then ask yourself, are these three questions answerable or answered in a way that makes you want to watch this film?
Yeah.
Right. And I worked very hard with my partner, John Lau, on making sure that every character in this film, every single one of them, from Uncle Fred all the way down to Mayor Kankle, right? I mean, Mayor.
He wishes.
But Coach Kankle, every one of these characters, you can just dissect and say, I get who they are, I know what they want, and I know what they're willing to do to get it. There's nobody that's just a stock character. Are they archetypical? Are they a little bit, known as characters? Yes, but they're known and then given backgrounds and a history and a true need that you can kind of relate to. You can even feel sorry for Coach Kankle because he's an idiot and he fucked up, but
I fucking don't.
But you know why he did it. You understand why. You don't go, he's evil.
Yeah.
There's nobody evil in this film. Nobody's evil. There's just, and Coach Kankle's going to get a whooping by his zombie dad, but he'll be okay.
Do you think his wife takes him back? Because seriously, I don't think she will.
No, I think she and Sheriff Frady head off to Vegas. And
we're
hang
talking
out.
30 years of Joyce suppression in this town.
I think she takes off with Sheriff Frady.
He has to leave town. There's no way they forgive him. If someone canceled Christmas for 30 years,
he ends up in a mental institution. But she and Sheriff Frady go off to Vegas and get married, and
Okay. Other question, Mr. Writer. What happens when Dana and our hero
Thanks, Keith.
Does puppy love spring up, or does mom and dad get in on this?
Oh no, mom and dad will end up getting married, and Dana and Danny. I think Danny and Dana have a future, maybe, but it's not important that they end up together. It's important that they had this moment, and that who knows if there was a sequel available.
Good ghouls go badder.
Well, I mean, I have an absolute way for it to continue, including with Christopher Lloyd. Yes, he's turned into dust, but there's always a way, and I have a way. And he'd be wonderful, and I'd love to work with him again. He was one of the most enjoyable collaborations I've ever had. He's just such a generous and kind and as you've noticed, very sort of reserved character who sort of talks like this. What are you having for dinner? Could I have a spoonful of that pasta, do you think?
Keith Braybender, I hope I'm saying that right. Keith is saying, thanks guys, this was fun. This was my first time seeing this film. It's a tough one to find. That's true. Thanks, Patrick Reed Johnson. Love your work. And if you want to see this movie without us yakking over it, someone did upload on YouTube. Not the best quality in the world, but
it's there.
I guess to you who spend hours color correcting trees, this must just be nails on a chalkboard.
It's really hard.
Such poor pixelation of your work. But I gotta say, as a noob who saw it just through that, it was fine.
I mean, the movie's there. You get it.
Yeah.
It's not it. It's just that so many people did so much work to make it look great, especially for a kids' TV movie. It's hard for me to, but yeah, I mean, until such time as people want to spend the money to get the DVD, which is like $80 on Amazon, or on it's not even. I don't think it's Amazon. I think, or maybe it is. I think it's more like eBay.
Yeah.
Hopefully, my hope, and hello Disney Plus. This is people will pay for this. I think I'm gonna probably have to get in touch with them and say, why are you not using this? Maybe I'm blacklisted. I don't know, but it's possible. But Keith, thank you, and hopefully maybe this year and next, maybe there'll be a better version available for cheaper, and we'll see what happens. But this was awesome, Ryan.
Yeah.
As always, a lot of fun to hang out with you, and there may be a chance to do something else in the near future with 52577, given that there's a.
Speaking of anime, John saying, what does 52577 mean? Right before we go off into that good night, Patrick explained to them the abridged version of what 527 means, and give them some anticipation of the next time we meet up will be hopefully some good news regarding it.
How about we do this?
Okay.
Give me half a second.
Are you going to show the trailer?
Why not?
Yeah, do it.
Right.
Just make sure you say share audio, though.
I will.
All right, cool. We'll full screen it and we'll shut up during it.
I think. Oh, here we go.
I don't think I've seen the full trailer yet.
So hang on, and bring it up here, and let me go back to sharing here. This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
So are you with us, Anime John 2? Okay. Here we go. Stand by.
Oh, it's gonna be some good. It's gonna be some good radio.
Oh shit! I gotta bring it. I'm sorry. I gotta bring it up in Chrome, not.
It's okay. There's been some S-bombs. It's all good.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. Hang on. It's gonna take me a second to get it to where we want it to be. Right. Trailer.
I was. Oh my god! I keep forgetting the goth kid who got incinerated by accident's name. What's his name again? I keep forgetting it.
Oh.
When it comes to ghouls.
Curtis Danko.
Thank you, Curtis. Keep thinking Victor. I keep thinking of Victor. Curtis Danko. We never hear him talk as a human. I find that's a little bit better, because if I heard his voice and then found out he got incinerated, that would have been way harder. Like, you can separate yourself from it. Yeah.
No, that makes sense to me. I never wanted anyone. I hate to say it, but Calvin and Hobbes, the guy who created it, said he would never do an animated version because he never wanted anyone to voice Calvin or Hobbes, because every person puts their own voice into him by reading it in. And that's true. And he said just to have someone do hang on, I swear to God, this is worth it if I could just do my work here properly. I got this. You got it. And I never wanted Curtis to be a particular voice. I wanted him to be representative of what happens to people who are outsiders and who are on the edge of the periphery of popularity and all of those things, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, okay, here we go. Hopefully this will work. So, here is a little trailer for the film that will be coming out this year.
Just tell me, what's playing here? Star Wars, right? Star Wars? Star Wars? Yes!
I'm just gonna mute us so we hear it better.
Now he was master of the world, and though he was not quite sure what to do next, he would think of something.
Steven Spielberg. You're kidding, right?
You're a weird kid, Johnson.
You are going to find the perfect girl for you really soon. And then you'll finally lose your virginity.
Everybody else, movies are something to do when you're tired of real life. God, do you read?
He's been a movie since he was 9. You know, with the home movie camera his dad left behind.
Take it out.
But they're really something.
Yeah, real bad.
So here's what I was wondering.
I can do that.
When this movie comes out, it's going to be like Woodstock. I'm thinking nerds.
Oh.
I guess
So
I guess the internet just can't take it anymore. We've been on for like 2.5 hours, and the internet's like, I'm tired, bro.
Dude.
So, where do your alien relatives come from?
A distant star system.
Yeah, what's it called?
Hollywood.
What's with Johnson?
It's like some kind of sci-fi sea insect.
Yeah. Just don't forget I did this.
What did you say? You think because you can direct little Super 8 movies, you can direct how people's lives are going to turn out? We may be geeks on the outside, but on the inside, we're all killer apes. Nuts what you are. Oh, no, I'm not nuts. I'm evolved. My ancestors touched the monolith. Your ancestors watched.
There's this thing in it called the Death Star, which can take out the Enterprise with one shot.
The Enterprise has deflector shields!
So do you have a long-standing history with arguing with Trekkies since the
No, not really. I mean, the truth of
Trekkers?
the matter. I mean, no, not at all. Actually, I mean, the truth of the matter is, I love Star Trek, especially the original series.
Yeah.
I saw. I mean, the premiere episode sitting in my living room at 5 years old with my dad and 2 TV tray tables in front of our color TV. I love the original series. I'm not.
Do you want me to turn the screen off? I'm not sure what.
Yeah, we should. Oh, yeah, we should definitely turn the screen off. Sorry.
Gotcha.
Here,
No problem.
let me fix that.
All right, I turned it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna shut it off on my end.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good. So, I love Star Trek. You've had.
Hey,
stories
Julia has
centered-
a question for you here. She said, so you've had stories centered on aliens, dragons, and with this one on zombies. Is there another creature story left you'd like to focus on for a film?
That's a good question. Yeah, absolutely. I have actually a bunch. First of all, I want to remake Dragonheart with my old friend Liam Neeson, who is
Okay, that's a whole episode, by the way, that I want to
We'll go into
do.
that
Is
another time.
the secret origins of Dragonheart. In fact, if you don't mind coming back in
be happy to.
even November, I've
Yep.
always wanted to delve deep into the Dragonheart that should have been, and that's what
I'm
we'll
happy.
call it.
Happy to do it. But
yeah, because
but to answer-
that's a story. That is a story. Everybody out there, just foreshadowing. You've told me the gist of that story back when we first met, and there was even more to get to. And
we can do that. We'll
yeah.
do that, and maybe it'll be part of a bigger announcement. Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
But in the meantime, the answer to Julia's question is that absolutely. I have everything from the Sinbad film that I developed for Sony Pictures, Columbia Pictures back.
What?
back in the 90s.
Sinbad film.
Sinbad at the Edge of the World is
Okay.
a project that I developed over at Sony Pictures, which was meant to be a sort of reboot, origin plus sequel to all of the Ray Harryhausen films.
Okay.
And yet it's more of the Raiders of the Lost Ark version. It's absolutely historically accurate. It's racially, ethnically accurate. It is, and I think it's profoundly cool, and I hope to still get it done someday. But in the meantime, on a creature level, everything from the Loch Ness Monster to mermaids to elves, fairies, sprites, goblins. There's a project called The Hole in the Forest, which is a sort of a contemporary. If Brian Froud was locked into the forest outside my childhood house, and it's about some disenchanted and disenfranchised young kids who find out that the woods behind their house contain a gateway to the world of the fairies.
Nice.
And it's really beautiful, but it's not ready yet. But so absolutely, creatures are a big thing for me. I also I have something called The Littlest Panda, and The Littlest Panda is about. I don't want to give it away, but
Don't give away. Don't give it away. The internet has a way of just.
Yeah, I can't do it,
yeah,
but it's
don't do it.
But when you hear the title, The Littlest Panda, you'll go, oh, I heard it here first.
Nice,
and it's not what you think it is. It's a movie within a movie within a movie within a movie.
Nice.
It's layers and layers and layers of deception, all revolving around a Disney production of a movie called The Littlest Panda in China.
Okay.
Involving the American crew, and then the Chinese crew, and then other people who may have an interest, and the guy playing the panda is a little person in a suit who gets kidnapped by. Oh, I don't want to tell you. It's great. It's fun. It's really fun. There'll be more to talk about soon.
Yeah, there's a world to talk about, and if you like Patrick's stories, and if you ever liked the movie Angus, I think we have the most in-depth look on Angus ever on this exact channel, and it has Charlie too. So between the two of you discovering new things in the hindsight, he learned a lot from our interview. It's just insane. So even if you vaguely like the movie Angus, you will want to see this because there's so much to that movie that didn't make it on screen and got cut that it's insane. And it's nice to hear that this movie, you got all this control that was taken away from you on Angus. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, well, I got it, weirdly enough. I mean, you know, I mean, Angus happened 6 years before, or 5 years before, when Good Ghouls Go Bad. I didn't have the control I wanted on Angus, but at the same time, I got to do a lot of things that worked, and I got to really rewrite the material and build it into what I thought it needed to be, even though I was badgered and bullied a little bit in the editing room. But David Madden gave me, like I said, he gave me a financial box, and he said, "You will never escape it." And I said, "That's fine. I don't want to." And he said, "But I will give you carte blanche creatively." And he did. And he really meant it, and he really supported it, and even flew down at one point to Australia to just help me work out some things with it. I mean, the president of the studio gets on a plane and comes down for just 2 days, just to across the Pacific Ocean, just to help me sort out some stuff that the movie needed sorting. And originally, I was sent down there with a script that John and I had worked on together. And at a certain point, while we were in pre-production, I was not sure about certain things. And David said, "Well, let me send John down there, and you guys can hang out and work on it while you're in pre-production." And he could have said, "Nah, just send drafts to each other over the internet or whatever," you know. And David's been one of the greatest supporters I've ever had in my life, and I'm more proud in many ways of what I was able to do with the script for this, especially given what I had to start with, because what I had to start with wasn't shootable, or even no.
Okay, well, oh God, I gotta pee really badly, but
Me too.
I gotta ask you, Patrick.
Yeah.
What in a nutshell? What was the movie like loosely about before you jumped in there? Like you said, it wasn't shootable. So what about it?
It was just zombie Uncle Fred screwing around, you know, with trying to. I mean, it just didn't. There was no weight. There was there was none of the deeper pain and tragedy, because all great comedies have drama and tragedy at their center, and all great dramas have some comedy in them. That's why the two masks are on the wall. You don't just throwing jokes and hijinks at a subject does not make it a good comedy.
That's true.
Obviously we were making a comedy here, but it's not it's not a slapstick comedy. It's a coming of age story mixed with a sacrifice story. I mean, yeah, like I said, please never anybody believe that I'm saying I created high art here. What I tried to do was create something that meant something more than just, we'll watch zombie Chris Lloyd running around being silly for an hour and a half.
But that's what I was talking about before, about the movie that will remain nameless. It was just kind of like a goofy voice, a goofy character that had goofy things happen, but there was no kind of rhyme or reason. Like, why did this happen? Why do you talk like this? And even today, I realized I didn't like that movie even more by watching Ernest Scared Stupid, being like, here's this guy, Jim Varney, who, like Christopher Lloyd, is capable of such comedic feats, but is always so vulnerable. And so Ernest just wants to be, he has no one. It's just him and his dog, and he doesn't get taken seriously, and he wants to be cool, but he's not, and he wants to be accepted, and he's not.
It's a character. It's an actual character.
It's a character, and that in itself is an art. And to just put some stuff on the screen, being like, look at this checklist funny thing, just because it's supposed to be funny or was funny 20 years ago, doesn't mean it's funny now. And I expect more. And when it comes to these movies and I watch them, I'm just like, you're looking down on your audience by thinking they'll accept Scary Movie 5 humor. You know what I mean? It's
too easy.
It's the lowest common denominator.
It's easy to do. I could have phoned this in. I could have phoned anything.
You could have, but you didn't.
Well, because for better or for worse, that's not what I'm in this for. And I think, in fact, I know, because he said so, that David asked me to do this because he knew that I wasn't going to phone it in and do some piece of pablum. He also knew I'd be difficult and hard to please, and I'd ask for more and I'd push against the walls of that boundary he set up for me. But that if he supported me, I would do something that had some weight to it. Nobody. I don't know anybody personally who got into the industry of filmmaking just to make money. There are many, many easier ways to make money than to be a filmmaker. This didn't pay much. It paid enough. Hi, David. It was fine, but that wasn't the point. Mm-hmm. The point was, it was an opportunity to do something creatively independent of really. I mean, David, I don't remember him saying no to a single thing I ever asked to do in this movie.
Yeah, but at the same time, you come from that world where you were building props in your backyard, as you clearly saw in that movie. So you know how to work with that shoestring budget too, though.
Right.
I'm sure you weren't ordering things around and getting a shot that was unnecessary and would cost like $20,000 just because you were walking around the scene doing this. Like,
no, and I mean, we had Steve McLaughlin, who was a terrific, amazing, on set, right there, line producer who really understood the nuts and bolts of Australia and the nuts and bolts of this kind of movie. And he shielded me from all kinds of, of my own ambitions getting me in trouble. But more than on a commercial or a financial level, both Steve and especially David Madden, on a creative level, on a purely storytelling creative level, I was unopposed at all times. And that was the only time in the history of my career where I didn't have somebody at some level of the executive chain at a studio, trying to push back on my creative thought.
Yeah.
David was like, leave him alone. Let him and John and his team, and the same was true of Steve McLaughlin and my crew and everybody else. Given that we had the parameters of the financial box that we had, that was where there would be pushback. But I didn't really have to push against that because that wasn't what I was fighting for mostly. I was fighting for the story.
And the last question of the night, because I'm literally about to pee my own pants, but I'm assuming that this was the thing. Did you have any other runner-ups besides Christopher Lloyd to take over the role, to take on the role as Uncle Fred? Because Christopher Lloyd comes in, makes literally pure magic, but a lesser actor wouldn't have been able to juggle the chainsaws that he did. Was there anyone else close?
Matt Frewer.
Okay.
Was up there, and we liked him, and I'm a huge fan of Matt's. I think it was more of a decision of would the studio spend what they spent for Matt versus Chris Lloyd, Oddly, I mean, I never expected Chris to respond, but it was again the script that got him. He did, because the money, I mean, they paid him for sure. They paid him what he was looking for, but it wasn't his giant payday or anything like that. I think that he thought to himself, I get to go to Australia. I get to do a film that I can sink my teeth into. And very early on, he had lots of questions. He had lots of really interesting questions about the part. And he had lots of very strong opinions about costume and wardrobe and hair and makeup. And, he didn't come in and say, yeah, whatever, I'll see you down there. He really jumped in on it. And that was one of the reasons I responded so much to him, because I was always a fan and had no idea. Well, I did know from certain things I'd seen, like, 8 Men Out, and things like that, that he was a terrific dramatic actor. But did I think, I mean, he wasn't my first thought for this by any stretch. There were a lot of other ideas we had. But all of a sudden, somebody, I don't know who suggested it, and I thought, well, we can't get Chris. I mean, he's a big deal. He's, Back to the Future, blah, blah, blah. And they said, send him the script. He likes scripts. He cares about the words. And that's what happened. And that's the reason that's the reason I've always been able to get people, is that they've responded to the words. When I got Austin Pendleton for 525.77, he almost got himself fired off his Steppenwolf Theater gig in Chicago, where you're not allowed to do anything but work on Steppenwolf Theater work while you're there in residence. But Bob Balaban, who I had originally wanted to play Herb Lightman in 525.77, couldn't do the job, and he was devastated because he loved the script, and he said, I'm going to find somebody for you. And he got in touch with Richard Dreyfuss, who was doing Shakespeare in London and couldn't do it. And he got in touch with all these people, and one day he calls me up and he says, I got it. And he's right there. He's 30 miles from you, downtown Chicago. Austin Pendleton. And I said, oh my God, what a great idea. And he goes, he probably can't do it because they'll fire him because you're not allowed to, but I'm sending him the script. And we get a call from Austin saying, I want to do this. I want to speak these words.
Yeah.
I was like, clang, So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. So that, without further ado, I think Patrick and I need to go number 2. So, or number 1, whatever your poison is, but number 2 rhymed. Thank you, everyone, Thanks for everyone for watching tonight. This has been absolutely amazing. I'm actually probably gonna watch this as I go to sleep, like a nice, like a nice lullaby / security blanket.
Thank you.
But spread the word about this movie, everybody. If you haven't seen this movie yet and you're just discovering it tonight, tell people. Create lore. Let's make this one of those Halloween classics that people watch each and every year. And let's get it on a streaming platform. Write a tweet to your local streaming service and say, hey, I want to see this, especially that Disney one.
Either that, or I'm just going to release the AVI that I have and wait for a cease and desist order while I collect rentals.
Hey, no one got it on YouTube, and this one's a better quality, so I'd say go for it.
I'm thinking about it. So.
Yeah, read Patrick John. Read Patrick Johnson, not Patrick
Whatever.
Reed.
It's okay.
This is yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then your name could be RPG.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Notorious RPG.
Yeah, the notorious RPG.
Thanks for everything, man. It's always good hanging out with you, and I
Yeah.
look forward to another one.
All right, take it easy, man. Have a good night, huh?
Bye, everybody.
All right, bye, everyone.
See ya.